Howdy Sketchies, it's Megan of Hello North, and today I am getting ready for Inktober. I've gone out and I've bought some new ink because my old ink was all dried up and cakey and flaky and it just wasn't gonna work this go round. So I thought I'd show some of the tools that I'm thinking about using, and I'm going to go on ahead and test these inks right here that I have out and see if they're going to work for me this year. So first off, I have my Pentel pocket brush pen. This is probably my go-to outlining pen. It has a brush tip. It's very difficult to use if you've never used a brush pen. It took me a long time to really I won't say master because I'm still learning how to use it myself, but it's really great. I like the fact that it's refillable. Next, I have two water brush pens. This one I got in an Art Snacks in the past. It's a Kuretake aquash pen. It has a water well. It's actually a little bit bigger than other pens from this brand, and as you can see right here in the filter part, I actually put black ink in this, like watered down black ink, to use it for calligraphy and hand lettering, and it worked fantastic. I absolutely loved it, but it is absolutely impossible to clean. So now my paintbrush kind of sputes little black squirms all over my paper when I use it. I've tried everything cleaning it. I've taken the whole thing completely apart. So if you have one of these brush pens, if you're going to put ink in it, really commit to it because you're never going to get it back to how it was. An alternative for using a well pen is using a Pentel aquash pen. This pen comes preloaded, I guess you could say, with ink, and it has a very big brush tip on it. It's almost like your Pentel pocket brush pen. Now, it is not refillable. You can get ones that are refillable. Well, I guess you could refill it with just regular Indian ink, but you're not going to get the same ink that Pentel uses in it. I really like it because it gives me a couple shades lighter of ink than this pocket brush pen, and it can do larger areas. Next, I just have a number 2 round paintbrush. This is just to kind of give me a little bit more of a thinner line, and plus if I don't want to use my water well pen, I can just use this paintbrush. It's just a cheap one that I picked up from Michael's that I felt was a good weight, and it's small enough to fit in my bag for when I travel this month. Next, because I'm not really familiar with opaque white ink that really works well, I'm going to stick to my handy dandy Uniball Singo pen. This one is actually running out of ink, so I'm going to have to buy some more, but it's pretty much the go-to white for a lot of artists. Next, I just picked these up. These are Liquitex Ink Professional inkwells. They have all different kinds of colors, and they're absolutely gorgeous. These two are opaque. This is your standard black, and my camera is going all over the place, and this is your standard like neutral gray. I really wanted to get a gray this year because in the past I've tried to just water this down, and it just wasn't a big enough difference for me, like, to get a different varyings of color. So I really just wanted to go with just a gray, so that way I wouldn't have to buy a white and try and mix it every single time. And then I decided to pick up some color because I really want to stick with just using ink this year instead of kind of going out and getting acrylic or Copic markers. This two are from the same line. They're going to be your transparent ink colors, so they're not, you'll be able to take this type of colors and paint over your black and the black still show up underneath. I pretty much just picked the two colors that I really thought would do really well this year, and colors that I really liked, because if you're going to spend money on ink, make sure that you're spending it on colors that you are going to use, because chances are you're not going to use up all of this ink unless you're doing like large paintings. So I have a magenta and a blue-green shade. I'm not even going to try and say that because I will probably butcher the tar out of it, but I'm really excited to play with these. They had all kinds of colors ranging from neon to your standard traditional red, yellow, blue colors, and they were, all of these inks here were about $5.99, so they're kind of a little bit pricey, but Liquitex has always really kind of come through for me on paints and paintbrushes, so I'm very eager to try out their ink line. Now, the rules of Inktober is just do something every day for 31 days, preferably obviously ink, but you can do a pencil underdrawing. So I am going to be doing a pencil underdrawing just because I am not super confident in my inking skills to put down just straight ink and hope for the best, because otherwise I will go through so much work and still get a meh drawing. So let's get to playing with our stuff. I started off with a pencil underlying drawing first to really get down what I wanted. I'm super unconfident with my inking skills, so I really wanted to make sure I had everything where I wanted it before I just threw down ink. I'm hoping at the end of Inktober that I can be more confident with it. I pulled some inspiration from the Rob Zombie animated movie Super El Beasto. The character Susie X, I really liked her character design and just her overall character. So that's kind of where this design came from. So I'm about to start putting down the ink for this drawing. Now, I really liked how the inks worked for this painting. I would definitely recommend either watering down your black or purchasing a lighter tone like the neutral gray, because these inks, they dry really quick, and so to really get that depth up, if you're looking for something like that, definitely either water them down or get a lighter shade of black. I really like how these inks worked. They worked really well. I'm actually using the carbon black right now. It was really dark, so I definitely had to water it down. They dry super fast. I was actually having some problems catching up and putting down color, because by the time that I would turn to get to load up my paintbrush with more color, it was almost dry and there was no moving it around. I would definitely say that I use ink just like watercolor, so if you're used to using watercolor, inks will be really easy for you. Now, on these inks, I really liked the quality of them. The transparent inks, the magenta and the green blue shade, they were really vibrant, but you could water them down to get a softer color, and they worked so well, and I would highly recommend them. I really love all the different colors they have, and you could probably find even more than what I had access to online. I'll put a link in the description box to where you probably could find them on like Amazon, definitely Dick Blick, but Dick Blick is a little bit slow on shipping, so you might not get them in time for when you want them. I'm using a Pentel pocket brush pen to just go over and do some of the finer
line art on it. Now here I'm putting down the green, and you can actually see me paint over some of the lines. That's the nice thing about the transparency of these paints, or inks I should say. So they work really well. I would definitely, if you're using Pentel or a brush pen, make sure that it's completely dry before you use your ink and just smudge all over it, because the Pentel pocket brush pen does not do well with water. It just kind of smudges everywhere. So I hope that maybe you guys will join in on Inktober. There is an official prompt list this year. I'm sure there has been for every year. I personally like to make my own because I really want to push myself in outside of the box and my comfort zone. I have my own list that I created. It's on my Facebook page. I am doing monsters and ghosts this year. Not just like the famous ones like vampires and Frankenstein. I am doing cultural inspired monsters and mythological ghosts and creatures, so it's going to be a lot of fun. You are more than welcome to use my prompts that I'm using. Links are in the description box, so I hope that this will inspire you to take a chance with the Inktober challenge, and don't forget to hashtag it as that, and we'll see you next time. Keep on sketching, guys.